It's time for Miami Dolphins Overreaction Monday following the NFL Week 2 loss. Miami now sits at 0-2, a loss on the road to the Colts and a loss at home to the Patriots. A game against New England that I believe Miami probably should have won going into the week, as well as how the game progressed when they took the lead after the Malik Washington touchdown. That should have been a game they were able to put away. Well, we're going to break down the rumors following the Week 2 loss. I am Nick Roloff, and it all starts with the head coach, Mike McDaniel. Did he just coach his last game in Miami? I'm giving it 4 fins, which means, yeah, I think he just did. And I'm choosing my wording very carefully there. I'm not saying he coached his last game for the Miami Dolphins. I'm saying he coached his last game in the city of Miami because I believe this week against Buffalo will be his last week as the Dolphins head coach. That game is obviously playing in Buffalo on Thursday Night Football. I tweeted this out yesterday afternoon. The Dolphins should have fired Mike McDaniel following last season. It was abundantly clear he is not the right man for the job. He cannot lead this locker room and be the face of the organization. But Stephen Ross kept his loyalty to McDaniel and Greer, keeping them for another season. Well, with how embarrassing it has been through 2 weeks of the year, you can't justify keeping him much longer. Especially if Miami gets blown out against the division rival Buffalo Bills on primetime this Thursday, which I certainly project. The opening line for the Bills-Dolphins game, I believe, is 12.5, might be 11.5. You know what I will be doing? Taking the Buffalo Bills and the points, because this team simply won't be able to stop the Bills' offense, and the coaching difference is just so large between McDermott and McDaniel. And that's saying a lot for me because I have been on the Sean McDermott is a bad head coach train for quite a while. I believe he's been the reason why Buffalo can't break through in the playoffs. But that's neither here nor there. But Dolphins fans, the beautiful thing about us is that we're passionate and that we care. Another beautiful thing is that we can have our opinion heard here on social media. And I want to get this video the most likes possible. And I want to show the Dolphins organization and Stephen Ross that we need McDaniel gone. You want to fire him and get him out of here, hit that thumbs up icon. And as I said a moment ago, assuming the Dolphins lose to the Bills, you cannot justify keeping him much longer. And I actually think that keeping him past the Thursday night game, assuming they lose, is organizational malpractice. Why would you hold on to him through Monday Night Football against the Jets? You're 0-3. The season's over. It's just time to cut bait. This guy's up there talking after the game like an absolute nonsense buffoon. He doesn't know what he's saying. And there's this quote, and we got another one coming up that just absolutely agitates me. But Mike McDaniel says, "I'm very frustrated. There's some coaches and players that did not execute communication with the game on the line. Our communication substitution were not up to par. But ultimately, I hold responsibility for all things. I will make sure that things should be ironed out, that we won't fall victim in the same thing again." I have a couple thoughts on this quote. One, if you read the first part, he is not taking blame. He is saying there are some other coaches and players that did not execute communication. So he's putting blame on someone else. And then when you get to the second part of the quote where he says, "I'll make sure this doesn't happen again and we'll get it ironed out." No, you won't, because this has been an issue for the last 2+ years. If you were actually going to fix that communication, getting the play in time, not having so many pre-snap procedural issues, it would have been fixed by now. This guy is as big as a joke as I have ever seen in the NFL. And I got to be honest, it's a freaking miracle that the Dolphins were able to make the playoffs 2 years in a row under this dude, because he has no idea what he is doing. I actually am amazed looking back on 22 and 23. They were able to accomplish what they did. That should be damn well a Super Bowl based off this buffoonery that is going on right now with the Miami Dolphins. But Tua even talked about the operational issues. I'm going to have a conversation with Mike McDaniel and Darrell Bevell and the players. Anyone who knows football, it was not clean and it was not right. We have to get it fixed. I'll tell you what. These two guys are a match made in heaven. They are. Tua and McDaniel, they're one hell of a duet, man. They just know exactly how to push the right buttons in terms of putting blame on someone else. Because Mike McDaniel says it's on some of the players and the coaching staff. Tua says, I got to talk with Mike and Darrell Bevell to how we can improve that. Which, by the way, why is we talking to Darrell Bevell? Shouldn't we be talking with our offensive coordinator, Frank Smith? Yeah, he's just a shell up there. He doesn't do a goddamn thing. This coaching staff is abysmal. It is. And you could blame some of the coaches that aren't Mike McDaniel. That's very fair. But the truth of the matter is this. The head coach has final say and picks the coaching staff. So if the coaching staff is bad, that's a direct reflection of the head coach, Mike McDaniel. So either way you want to spin the rock here, if you've got coaching issues, it's all on Mike McDaniel for not having all of his ducks in a row, for having the wrong people in the right spots. You can blame personnel decisions on Chris Grier, and boy, there's a lot to blame there. But it's not like Mike McDaniel could push off blame to players and coaches. No, come on, it's on you. It's on you. So, pin comment on today's show. Do the Dolphins need to fire Mike McDaniel right now? Short week before Thursday Night Football. I find it far-fetched, but let me know if you think they should. Y for yes or N for no. This is the other quote I alluded to just a little bit ago on the show that drives me up a wall. McDaniel quoted after the loss. You can find the full video, by the way, if you don't believe me, on my social media. Follow me at Nick_Roloff. We're to win games. You have to win the game. Not to lose the game, honestly, and that is how you lose the game. That is what he said. He has no confidence in himself. He has no confidence when speaking. And we've talked about the ability to lead a locker room and lead young men and veterans to win the National Football League. You hear your head coach say that in the locker room to the media, and you're supposed to try to give it 100%, put your body and your future on the line to win football games? No. You know what? Honestly, I don't blame some of the players at this point. Because if I was in that locker room and I had to listen to this freaking loser, I'd probably be giving up too. Next overreaction. Cut Darren Waller. Forfeits. This guy sucks. This guy might be big of a loser than Mike McDaniel. I mean, we talked about Tua and McDaniel being in a hell of a duet. No wonder why the Dolphins wanted to trade for Darren Waller. McDaniel just wants to surround himself with more losers to make himself look like not the biggest loser. Darren Waller's going to miss Thursday Night Football again. Drew Rosenhaus's agent, the agent for Waller, said on the weekly hit with Josh Moser that he's not expected to play on Thursday. Rosenhaus, I remember a month ago when you said, he'll be ready for week 1. And then, re-injured that hip. Yeah, I'm sure, man. The guy just doesn't want to play football. He might have a hip injury. Might. Truth is, if you're not going to try to play through it, what are we doing here? Cut him. And if he does miss this game, that's a minimum of 3 games. I'd be willing to bet he doesn't play week 4. And if he doesn't play week 4, that is 4 games missed. Which means you could have put him on IR and added a actual player that could impact this football team to the 53-man roster. But you didn't do that. Even if he does play in week 4, I would have still put him on IR. Because now you just wasted 3 weeks of not having a person on the active roster. Why is Darren Waller still on the team? Really? It's the biggest question I think there is out there. I think there's more evidence that Waller should be cut today than Mike McDaniel should be fired today. Seriously. Mike McDaniel needs to go, but there's more of a reason to keep him through week 3 than Darren Waller. That's the truth. It really is. More to come here in a second, but get started with PrizePicks today. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day. Being right on PrizePicks can get you paid, where it's good to be right on PrizePicks. It's so simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks is invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. Double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. I've got an entry for the Monday Night Football action across the professional sports league that we call home. Less than Bucky Irving rushing yards, more than C.J. Stroud passing touchdowns, more than Riley Dixon punts, and less than Tommy Townsend punts. We are on the Texans tonight to score and get a win against the Buccaneers. Join me and download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. What did I tell you before the season? Dolphins had the worst tight end room in the NFL. Might be in NFL history. I think through 2 weeks, that's been abundantly clear to be the case. Listen, I've been wrong about a lot of things. I'll never shy away from that. But I like to pat myself on the back when I'm right about things. Where Roley was right. This tight end room sucks. Like, beyond sucks. I think it would actually be better if they actually had 0 tight ends on the roster. They're using Alec Ingold more than Tanner Conner, Julian Hill. And those two, in terms of Hill and Conner, have been such non-factors. Oh, none. They've done nothing. Nothing. Like, why can't we sign Greg Dulcich, who's on our practice squad, to the 53-man roster? He's a former day 2 pick. Was the best preseason tight end in football. Had 3 touchdowns for the Giants. Had 80 yards in those 3 games. Why can't we add him to the 53-man roster and see if he can provide anything? Like, really, why? What is stopping them? I would rather have Greg Dulcich than Tanner Conner. I would rather have Greg Dulcich than Julian Hill. And I would certainly rather have Greg Dulcich than Darren Waller. Hell, I would rather have Jeffrey Cooperstein over Darren Waller on the football field because at least he's not hurt and he would suit up on Sundays. I mean, that's all I'm asking for to have more than Darren Waller. I mean, from top to bottom, you just can't understand what's going on over in Miami. It's pure incompetence. But make sure you stay subscribed and stay locked in. And if you haven't subscribed already, join the channel today. Because when, not if, when the Dolphins fire Mike McDaniel, it will happen. It's just a matter of when. Is it in the season? Is it outside the season? Boy, I hope it's in season because I don't know if I can take a full 17-game season of this. We'll be going live to react and break it down. So subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss that. Final overreaction on this morning episode of Dolphins Today. The defense for Miami is without a question the worst in the NFL. Clean sweep across the board, folks. 4 fins on all 3. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. Oh, man. I tweeted it out about multiple times on Sunday's Week 2 game that this defense is high school level. It's a joke. I mean, it's hard to fathom. You look at some of the advanced numbers heading into Monday Night Football, where there's 4 games, or 2 games, 4 teams. And so I wanted to say worst in terms of actually where they rank. In terms of giving up EPA per play, expected points added per play, 3rd worst defense in Week 2. EPA per pass. So once again, that secondary, who got bottom 3, I should say, in the NFL last week, 2nd worst heading into Monday Night Football. They were a little bit better against the rush, but still in the bottom 10, 10th worst. Like, it's bad, dude. And yeah, a lot of it has to do with the personnel. But Anthony Weaver's play calling has been pretty damn bad. And this front 7, which I anticipated to be the strength of the football team, has been not good whatsoever. Sure, they had 3 sacks against New England yesterday, one by Bradley Chubb, Jordan Brooks, and Chop Robinson. But the pressure rate was 36.7%, so an improvement from Week 1, but not enough. And Tua Tagovailoa was pressured more than Drake May. And I would argue, coming into the year, they were in the same tier of O-lines. But the fact that the Dolphins' defense, per my estimation, has given up a score on 12 of 14 possessions this season? Like, what? And really the only way Miami was able to get a stop against New England in Week 1 or Week 2 is when they shot themselves in the foot. Holding calls, false starts, illegal formations, which there were a lot of those. So it's actually, like, if you rewatch the game, the Patriots tried to lose it, and you couldn't take advantage. When you think of the defense, there has not been one player you can say they've been good. The rest of the team has been bad. Jordan Brooks hasn't been good. Minkah Fitzpatrick hasn't been good. Chop Robinson has not been good. Zach Sealer has been MIA, honestly, through the first 2 weeks. The rookie D linemen have not done anything. Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips have been non-factors. The defense is bad. Really bad. And it's hard to really pinpoint any specific player that should be kept around for a long time. Like, obviously, Chop's going to be here. Obviously, Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips, Zach Sealer are going to be here due to their youth in contracts. But any veteran on this team, Chubb, Phillips, Brooks, Dodson, Fitzpatrick, why is there any belief through 2 weeks that they'll be here next year? There isn't. I bet some of them will be. But it's not like we need them. It's been that bad. That'll do it for today's episode. We'll be live later today on the channel, breaking down more action from week 2. But we have a quick turnaround Thursday Night Football, so we're already looking ahead to week 3. So make sure you subscribe and join us for our live show later today and more Dolphins coverage every single day.